Okay, amazing. Sounds
So,
good.
all right,
I'm
cool.
excited.
Yeah, I am too. Well, it's wonderful to meet you. Thank you so much for taking a minute out today. I appreciate it.
Thank you. Thank you for having me here.
You bet. So, before we get into your good work, I always start with this question. 6 years ago, the pandemic changed our lives, changed so
hmm
much about what we were doing. How did you get through that era? And how has it changed the way that you live and work today?
Oh, that's an interesting question. So I would say pandemic definitely changed a lot of mindsets, a lot of lives, and also even consumer behaviors. So I'm a marketer at heart. So during the COVID time, I was actually at a Constellation brand, so managing over $50 million of the marketing budgets across our wine and spirits and portfolio. So there are goods and bads like during the pandemic, like because during pandemic people are stuck at home, so our alcohol and beverage sales are actually through the roof. So, which is the like good thing for the company. But then during that time, there's also a lot of things happening in the world. So that kind of shows my personality, like because we are like at the marketing team, so like sometimes we're talking about the things happening in our life, so people are crying. Sometimes they get emotional, like it's inevitable. But I think for my personality, I was actually thriving in that type of environment. So because everybody is stuck at home, and then I was constantly looking for more of the mental stimulation in terms of what else can I do to help, and then what else can I do to drive performance. So I actually took a couple company and industry first initiatives during the pandemic for Constellation brands. And then during that time, that also kind of baked me in terms of what do I want to do with my life, because there's just so many things happening in the world. So I also decided to go to B school. So that's when I applied for B school, and I got into the Wharton School during pandemic. And then because I really wanted to like invest myself long term and really do something that can last for a longer effect. So I was learning. So during pandemic, when it just hit and people stuck at home, I was learning Korean because I have very strong interests in languages, and I was watching a lot of K-dramas, K-pop, so I was I might as well just make it worth. So I started learning Korean for 6 months, and then the pandemic seems to be longer than I can imagine. So I decided to do something that is even long term, and that's when I applied for the B school and I got into one. So I would say those 2 years at B school are also the things like I would say the two best years of my life. I met so many smart, like-minded people from different parts of the United States, and then some people are international as well, learning all the different perspectives, and then from different industry, different journeys, how they grew up to be who they are today, their development process. So that was a very inspirational experiences and also exciting journey throughout that 2 years following my pandemic aspirations. And then also doing that 2 years of a journey, it's interesting that also leading up to what I want to do, leading up to retirement, which is acquiring businesses. So I don't know if people heard about this concept called entrepreneurship through acquisition. So for me, I have over 13 years of experience driving corporate initiatives at the Fortune 500 companies. But for me, it's like after more than decades after 9 to 5, day to day, people got burned out sometimes. You feel you're lo only looking for one purpose. It's like every year I want to get promoted. I want to be like, meeting or exceeding expectations on my annual review. But other than that, I don't have much of the purpose. So during that 2 years, when I learned this concept is people can actually buy in cash flow businesses and then really rooting for your passion and continues to driving forward. So that kind of redefine what the success is to me. It's not just one side of the story, right? Like it's not just I'm getting promoted every year, my paycheck is getting more and more. That means
Yeah.
success. So so during that 2 years, that's also what I learned, and that's how I started my own business post-pandemic. And then also I'm in the market to looking for more business to acquire, utilize my expertise as a marketer for over 13 years to continue to grow other business as a part of my portfolio leading up to my retirement. So that's essentially like my life stories.
Love that.
what I wanted to do with my life in the next 10 years before I retire.
So let's synthesize everything that you do on a daily basis to make it make
Hmm.
sense to kids. So I'm going to put you
Hmm.
in front of 12-year-olds. You're at career day, and the kid in the back of the room is like, "Hey, what do you do for a living?" How do you
Hmm.
answer them?
So I am a marketer, so I help companies and entrepreneurs to grow their marketing efforts. So starting from social media, building the flywheels, building anything marketing presence to get them in front of people, including this podcast, right? So I'm a marketer and my superpower is essentially I can market anything. I can make anything grow and anything scale by using simple principles and also some of the secret tips that I have for entrepreneurships.
So when you were like 12 or 13 years old, what did you want to be when you grew up? What was your dream?
That was an interesting question. I love this. I would say when I was 12 years old, because I grew up in Taiwan,
Yeah.
born and raised, so Taiwanese, and then I grew up in the kind of like a society where stereotype might sometimes be true is that Asians are or Asian parents are having this like very, very high expectations about your kids. You need to get straight A's, you need to be a doctor, be an engineer, being some sort of prestigious um, occupation growing up to make money and make your family proud. So I was in that environment growing up. So when I was 6 year old, I remember during my graduation of my kindergarten, I was on the stage and we asked everybody this like, what do you want to be when you're growing up? So I was like, I want to be a doctor when I grow up because I say the things my parents I think will make my parents proud. And
Yeah.
of course my mom was happy. But when I go to the elementary school before I graduate, I demonstrate this skill sets in terms of art. So I was actually in a gifted class, and then I was demonstrating this exceptional skills of art. I went to all the different like competitions I just won without actually learning art skills. So my teacher was like, "Oh, maybe you're some type of talent. You can go to art school and being like doing really well, right?" But then she was like, "Do you want to apply for art school?" That was when I was 12, and I would say no. And then she was asking why. And because I was reading a lot of bios of the artists, I know they get really poor until they die. They don't get famous after they pass away. So I was like, no, I want to make money. I don't want
Yeah.
to be like doing art. So I told her I want to do business, and that's where I am today. So fast forward 20 something years after like I started, I went to school undergrad for marketing and then I got an MBA in business and also finance. And then throughout my career, I've been doing marketing slash business and now I have my own business. And in the next 10 years, I want to build more business. So that's kind of snapshot of who I want to be like when I was 12 versus
Yeah.
who I am now.
So how did you get this marketing prowess? How did you get this business acumen? How did you acquire, develop, and get this skill level that you have? Has it always been something innate in you? Have you had to work hard to develop it? How has this all come to fruition for you?
That's an interesting question. I would say it just comes naturally. I'm a strong believer that you need to love what you do, and then that's how you become really good. So, I don't have ADHD, but I'm a dating a person that has ADHD that he constantly saying like if he doesn't love anything he does, he wouldn't be able to pay attention, right? But for me, it's like I can pay attention to the things I don't like mundane ta task, but where I can be really good is when I develop the interest into something. So, when I was in college, I'm already very interested in marketing. I was interested in psychology because I think a human mind it just is a bit mysterious, but also very like impressive in the way of how much human mind can do. So I was very interested by like psychology, and then I find out that marketing is something that you constantly studying human behaviors, like meaning consumer behaviors, and then trying to chase what consumer wants, and then you put the product offer in front of them and trigger their actions. So it's some sort of algorithm I consider very like interesting and maximizing in a way that oh you can actually do this type of thing to change like people's behavior. So I've been having interest in marketing at the earlier age and then later on going through the corporate life and start learning all the different things, including operations, finance, and how people drive like a scales at the Fortune 500 company like scope, where it really opens my eyes. Throughout like past like 13 years, I work with cross-functional team closely. So for example, when I was in alcohol and beverage and also financial services were highly regulated industries, I work with my legal team very closely. Like we meet on weekly basis on anything we want to push out to in front of customers. We need to have our legal approval. So I learn all the legal clauses. I like read line contracts back and forth. I read every single contract that our attorneys and our partners attorney wrote so that I know what they're talking about. So it's just like all the different things accumulates little by little throughout the course of like the things I touch by just doing marketing, but working with cross-functional team, that's where I kind of learn things on secondhand in terms of how to read a contract, how to like, negotiate contract, like procurement side of things, how do we manage P&L by working with finance, and then just constantly evolving and then learning more and more from the teams and the partners I'm working with. And then now evolves the whole growth engine of the essential of the business, right? So the business is not just going to be successful because of one function. It's going to be a cross-functional effort. And that's how I started to know that like this is really something that's very interesting, and then it's meticulous, and then it has a lot of it's just basically in the ocean I can swim in and just learning from day by day and then from everybody. And then now I have my own business. It's even different because I have to learn taxes. I have to learn, how to get a mortgage without W-2 income, like those type of thing, or even like, all the other things I have not learned just by doing, like being a marketer in a Fortune 500 company. Now I'm learning everything, which is also very interesting. And then when I help entrepreneurs and other SMB grow, I see, different pain points, different like struggles and different challenges. And that also gives me kind of like mental stimulation in terms of solving like puzzles, solving like hard problems, and then really see the impact that I can help entrepreneurs drive, versus staying like in a corporate that's like well protected, that you just do one thing every day. So I think that just give me different sort of flavor in life and also different dimensions of challenge that I can resolve.
Seems like AI, there's a fear that it's going to take over, functions of business, whether it's even as an entrepreneur or as a corporation. But for what you're doing to harness marketing power and to do things to get in front of people, that AI is going to help you. It's going to be a
Hmm.
tool. Is that kind of the way
Hmm.
it works for you?
That is correct. So I've been in conversation, everybody's talking about AI. AI is basically a buzzword right now, but what I envision AI to be, it's just going to be the baseline of your workflow and day-to-day life. It's just kind of like Microsoft, right? Like you have to use Word or PPT to like get to like presentation, get to where you are like 10 or 20 years ago. But now it's you have to use AI to get to where you want to be. So it will be the baseline of the workflow for everything. And then AI, it's such a big term, but then if you kind of distill into different concepts, everything can be automated by AI, right? Like I just came back from CES, so there's like a whole section of physical AI. It's, robotic, autonomous driving, like all the different things that's driving, kind of improving people's life. But there's also AIs that can improve, like, I don't know, your mortgage application process, or the agentic AI that's taking calls and booking calls for you. So there's just all the different ways that people can use AI to really leverage AI to improve like your productivity and efficiency. In marketing, it's the same thing. So, right now, what I help business build is an AI automated system. So, for example, I have a coaching clients that they need to, put their offering in front of people. So they leverage meta ads. They leverage once people driving into like being directed from the meta ads into their landing page, then there's like agentic AI flow that's coming in, right? Like agentic AI is helping you taking calls, pre-qualify people that are interested in your offer. And then once they qualified the AI engine will basically set up the call for the coach to talk to them directly. So that's just step one of how AI can already improve the efficiency and pre-qualify people before they even jump on the call with coaches. And then there's other AI automated systems. So, for example, like even emails can be AI automated right now. So, people are using AI to write emails, sending emails, automation workflows, and all the different things. So, you don't need to keep the mental space of remember, oh, I have to follow up with this person like 3 days after. Now, AI is doing all of that for you. And then even the VA, like people are start using AI as a VA. I don't know if you guys are testing like some of the AI assistants that they will helping you take calls. They will help you solve tasks. They will remind you on things. They integrate different system. Even ChatGPT can do that now, even at the very beginning stage. But this is where the world is going. And then not just in marketing sense, I would say like just overall impact of the human life or productivity or the ways of thinking. I think it's pretty impressive and also pretty critical.
So who's been your hero? Who's been your inspirational force to get where you're at today?
Ah, that's a very interesting question. Um, how do I answer this? I think like I'm pretty good or pretty bad at answering question of who's gonna be your dinner guest at the table if you can invite anybody. But
Yeah.
so my inspiration, I think it's more rooted from my value of believing in myself and then just like I feel people always wanting to have some sort of belief to get to where they are and make them feel calm. But for me is I believe myself can do a lot of things. Like I believe myself can figure a way out. I think also rooted from like kind of like my immigrant background. I didn't grow up in the United States, so I came to the United States with two luggages and like after college because I was bored at where I was. So I was like, oh, this everything's so predictable in Taiwan. I want to see what's going on in the other side of the world. So I booked one-way ticket. I applied for school and got into Northwestern and decided to come here. And then after that, luckily got a job and decided to stay and started my US chapter. And then I stayed in the Chicago for a couple of years and then like decided I want to move to San Francisco. So I got a job in Constellation and moved to like across the country. So it's just this type of pattern like kind of makes me trust myself more in terms of how I make decisions in my life, as well as I can be where I want to be as long as I want it to. Like, so I have a very meticulous way of setting out what my goal is and then breaking down into, like a years or quarter, like how do I achieve my goal. So basically like how people doing performance review, I'm doing that for myself as my life. So for me, the inspiration for myself is definitely like being around people that are better, if not just equal as you are, would definitely inspire you. Like for myself, I like to surround myself with people similar or better. So their achievement, their thought process inspired me along the way. Making good friends and then also making meaningful connections also inspire me to where I am. But also I trust myself, what I can be where I want to be. So that I know that's a long answer, but essentially that's where I get to where I want to be.
So when you look back on everything that you've accomplished and become at this point, what are you ultimately the proudest of?
I love all those questions. What am I proudest is I think my perseverance, my determination of things that once I decided I want to do it, I can make it regardless how long it takes. So like in Chinese philosophy is there's a one saying called like 君子报仇，10年不晚, meaning that if you want to do something, it's not gonna be too late even 10 years later, as long as you did it. So that kind of become one of the like models that I remember very deeply as a Chinese culture is being perseverance, persistent to where you want to be, and that there's gonna be one day you can get there, and that's the moment that we should be celebrating. So.
Right on. So let me ask you this. Everyone has a perception of you. Family, friends, clients, everyone that knows you, but you run the show. What's your perception of you? Who do you think you are?
Oh my God. This is like one of the best podcast questions I've ever
Good.
gotten. Um, the perception of myself, that's so interesting. I feel I'm a chameleon. So like everybody in my social circle might have one perspective of me. Like there's in general, it's kind of like the Bell distribution. There's like a general overall conception of who I am, but there's also people think I'm like something else, like that they see one aspect of me that's interesting and intriguing. So for me, I think I'm multifaceted, and then I changed my ways of communication based on who I talk to. I like to speak this person's language, to, being on the same wavelength. And then, I love this type of kind of interaction. So that's why I love to learn languages. I love to learn cultures. I travel extensively just because I love like a humanity in general. And I'm generally interested about everybody, every races, every, like languages, cultures. So for me, I think who I think I am is a person that are in genuine interested in the world and humanity and want to make an impact. And I'm a big animal lover. So when I retire, I want to have an animal farm where I have my Highland cow, pygmy goats, like six dog, like that kind of thing. So to me, I think I'm an empath. I have a huge empathy, and also I can feel people's feelings and sense like subtle cues really easily. So I would consider this is my superpower.
So if anybody is curious, they want to reach out, they want to hire you, any of the good business, where is the best place for people to go out there to do that?
Yeah, so my website is signalgrowth.ai.
Okay.
I'm happy to share, post the show. And then you can also find me on LinkedIn. My name is Kathie Feng, Feng. Find me on LinkedIn, send me a message. Happy to chat anything, even if it's just not for business, but you want some pointer about marketing. You are struggle with some sort of bottleneck in your growth and you don't know how to resolve it. So hit me up. I am happy to resolve any issues, any bottleneck, and yeah, help you grow.
Wonderful. Kathy, it's been absolutely great. Thank you so much for your time. Thank you for your honesty, your story. I appreciate it. It's been wonderful.
Of course. Thank you for having me.
Yes, absolutely.